for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, the battle over RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's visit to New York and what will be the historic Madison Square Garden event is becoming more intense. And you know what this fight is about, viewers? There are only two sides here. Those who are pro-India and those who are pro-Pakistan. As usual, the Congress ecosystem is pro-Pakistan. And you have the nationalist Hindu ecosystem, which is pro-India. That's what this is about. Now you have the pro-Pakistan ecosystem, which hides under various names, like Sunita Vishwanath. She says, I'm so grateful to Mamdani that he is against Mohan Bhagwat coming to New York City. This lady, Sunita Vishwanath, says, I want Mamdani to unequivocally denounce the RSS and its chief Mohan Bhagwat for coming to New York City. And that's Sunita Vishwanathan sitting right behind Rahul Gandhi. I don't think I need to leave any doubt here when you've got Sam Pitroda, Rahul Gandhi and Sunita Vishwanath. There's a Congress ecosystem which is supporting people who are pro-Pakistan. I really sometimes think what has happened to this party. On the other hand, you have the pro-Hindu, pro-nationalist ecosystem which is now tweeting for the event. Rightly so, led by the fantastic Mahesh Jethmalani, who says Zohran Mamdani has revealed his particular definition of pluralism. Everyone belongs in New York until 5,000 Hindus gather to hear Mohan Bhagwatji. Then suddenly the Muslim Brotherhood discovers exclusion. Fantastically, well said, Mr. Jethmalani. Now, my problem tonight is that I suspect a Congress hand behind what is happening. And it's very bad that the Congress party and its people are supporting those who are pro-Pakistan and anti-India. I've always had a problem with the way Rahul Gandhi has been begging for Western support on Western soil where he says India is not a nation. But this is going too far, absolutely too far. Look at the parallel here, and I'll back this up with proof. Congress party says exactly what Mamdani says. Congress party's chief overseas, Sam Pitroda, says, I have a problem with the RSS, but it's a private event. I can't do anything about it, but I think it's exclusionary. Mamdani says exactly the same thing. This is an exclusionary vision, but it's a private event. I can't cancel it. Exactly the same words, the same tone, the same attitude. Sam Pitroda and Mamdani, parallels to each other. Congress party supporting Mamdani, Mamdani pro-Pakistan, Mamdani boycotts India Day events, Mamdani pro-Pakistan. Mamdani clearly wants a Muslim exclusionary state within the United States of America. Congress party wants exactly that kind of an approach. Now, they talk about hate, fighting hate. They say there's no space for hate. What about Pahalgam on 22nd April 2025? When Asim Muni's terrorists killed Hindus in Pahalgam, they asked them, are you Hindu or Muslim? Forced them to recite the Kalma. If you can't read the Islamic verses, you're killed at point blank. 26 are killed. Not because they were Indian alone. They were killed because they are not Muslim. I never heard a word from this Sam Pitroda or Sunita Vishwanath on it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolute hypocrisy. These people are only pro-Muslim, and actually not pro-Muslim. They are pro-Muslim fanatic view. They're against everybody else. Did they speak about Dipu Chandra Das, 27-year-old Hindu garment worker lynched in Mymensingh on 18th December 2025? When he was beaten for quote-unquote blasphemy, the pictures were out there of him burning in front of a mob of 150 mad Muslim fanatics, set ablaze before hundreds. Did Rahul Gandhi say a word about that? Did this whole Mamdani ecosystem talk about that? No. Because, ladies and gentlemen, these are the real fascists. Mamdani is a fascist. And he's an Islamist fascist. And all the other people who are supporting him are also Islamic fascists. Now, point is this how happening in exclusion? Look at this picture. This picture is of Mamdani with a co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing trial, so-called unindicted co-conspirator. Ladies and gentlemen, he says Israel must be eliminated. And Mamdani, who's Rahul Gandhi's ideological buddy, anti-Hindu, pro-Pakistan, is celebrating with him. And these people then call themselves progressive. No, they are pro-terrorist, Islamist fanatic, pro-terrorist Islamic fanatics who want an exclusionary Islamic state. And that is why it's very important. It's very, very important that America listens and the people and the Hindus in America get a chance to listen to Mohan Bhagwat in Madison Square. Mamdani, Rahul Gandhi, Owaisi playbook cannot be allowed anymore. And therefore, I want to just end by saying, be very careful of what is happening in America. America is a divided country. It's a broken country. Trump has broken America. It's extremely polarized. It's going through economic, skyfall. And Mamdani and people like him are taking advantage of the sense of dissatisfaction in America by tying up with all kinds of groups like the Hakuk-e-Khalq party. Mamdani is linked to the Hakuk-e-Khalq party. You will ask me, what is the Hakuk-e-Khalq party? Ladies and gentlemen, find out about it. Raza Gilani, Mohiba Ahmed, Zahid Ali. These people created a group called DRUM, Desi's Up and Rising. But ladies and gentlemen, these are all pro-Pakistani people. So now, over this event, there are only two divisions. I'll repeat once again. If you're pro-Pakistan, you're with Mamdani. If you're pro-Bharat, pro-India, you are supporting Bhagwat's going into Madison Square Garden. There's a lot of symbolism into that. It's very unfortunate that the Congress party and its ecosystem, Sunita Vishwanathan and that lot, is siding with against the RSS on this. But more ironical is the fact that while they carry the India card, we are people of Indian origin, you see, all these brown-skinned coconuts, they want to take a Pakistani line. Sunita Vishwanathan, why don't you have the guts to say you're pro-Pakistani? Then things will be even clearer. Let's debate.
RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's visit to New York has upset many triggered vokes.
The RSS's own guru.
Protest calls, political opposition, and now a social media account.
In 1939, as 22,000 Nazis occupied Madison Square Garden, the RSS's own guru penned a manifesto praising the Nazi purging of German Jews as a wonderful example to emulate in India. 2 continents the same year and an identical appetite for purging a country of the wrong kind of people.
This is the account of AHEAD, the organization hosting Bhagwat's Universal Oneness celebration at Madison Square Garden, which has now been suspended. X has not publicly explained the reason. The opposition, however, is not limited to this. New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani openly opposed and said he will not attend.
Not only as an Indian American, but also as the mayor of a city that believes deeply in the belonging of each and every person, no matter their color, their creed, their religion, their faith, wherever they're from.
Should the rally be canceled, though, at MSG this weekend?
I don't support the rally, but I don't know if the city has any jurisdiction on canceling a private event.
USCIRF, the organization supposed to be championing religious freedom, has escalated the political rhetoric, calling for Bhagwat's visa to be revoked. The question is why an RSS event has become a flashpoint for such a political campaign. Is this about Bhagwat's politics or about the rights of the Hindu community in US? The big question tonight, if the event is being opposed on political grounds, why such escalation before it has even taken place?
Ladies and gentlemen, one part of it is that this is giving a lot of publicity to the RSS in America, which is a good thing, It's also like, the rot has come to the surface. The rot of the anti-Hindu groups, the rot of the Islamist Congress ecosystem is also coming up to the fore. I welcome Ajay Shah, he's former president of the World Hindu Council of America, founder and executive chair of the Hindu Policy Research and Advocacy Collective, joining us from Florence. Thank you, Ajay. And Dr. Yashodhan Agalgaonkar is part of the AHEAD Forum. AHEAD is American Hindus for Engagement and Dialogue. They're organizing the Madison Square event. It's great you're doing that. Dr. Yashodhan, fantastic. Vibhuti Jha, president of the Federation of Indian Industry in the US. And Dr. Bharat Barsai is chairman of the US-India Community Foundation. On the other side today, I have Troy Blackwell, Democrat, former advisor to Biden, and Alec Lemhulk. He's a senior journalist joining us from Atlanta. I'll get the contrary perspective first. Troy, these people are getting very excited about Mohan Bhagwat, RSS chief's visit to New York, the fact that there's a private event organized at Madison Square Garden. What's the big deal? Why are people getting so worked up? What's the problem? Troy, can you hear me? No, Troy can't. Okay, now my producers woke up and said audio dropped. Eric, did you hear that? I mean, just want to get a sense from the other side. What do you think is going on? If you're watching the commentary, why are people getting so excited about Mohan Bhagwat's being at Madison, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I think you kind of capitalized on it in your opening monologue. We've had groups come in here and try to take advantage of our own disarray in our country, and they've come in and they have infiltrated, our way of doing things here, and tried to slip it through. The radical Islamists have done that. Mamdani, which is weird, he's taken this position now because he was 100% against Netanyahu even stepping foot on American soil in New York City. He was going to try to arrest him, but now he wants to take the neutral stance here. But it's something that we need to gain control of. Having individuals come in and bring the RSS being known quasi-radical group that's well known around the globe. We have to take care of the Hindus in our country. We have to take care of the non-radical Islamists in our country. So that it's a fine line as far as our Constitution goes. We have to be open to religious beliefs, but at the same time, we have to keep it within reason. And I think that's why it's so concerning is because we've started to see more radicalization here in the United States, and we're trying to kind of rein that in as a country.
No, but what is not reasonable about the RSS? Rather than just let's take a serious position on issues such as this, right? I mean, if today Osama bin Laden were to call someone a radical, would you take that seriously? That's equivalent to Mamdani calling the RSS radical. It's Mamdani who is radical. So from his perspective, everybody else is. Right. But what is the basis for this? What is the basis for this presumption that the RSS is quasi-radical?
Well, just in the sense of their anti-Hindu rhetoric, their pro, Pakistani Islamist groups. That is something we don't want to see. We don't want to see, this religious war happen on our turf. Like you said, Mamdani is a radical, no doubt about it. He has radical policies, radical ideologies. He definitely swings a certain way when it comes to what he favors and what he does not favor. So to have this event in New York City, yes, it's a private event. It's a private closed event. However, it is something concerning. That is this going to be another radical situation that gets implanted into the fabric of all Americans that we're going to have to fight off later?
I don't know. I think what's going on here, viewers, is very strange in America. See, please don't mind my saying it. America is what I call a recent country. You're very recent. You don't have much history, and therefore awareness of other civilizations is also sometimes a little shallow, and therefore it is entirely possible, Troy, that Americans are being misled. And Americans are being misled by some nonsense put out on Twitter by people who are coconuts. We call them coconuts. They are brown outside and they want to be quasi-white inside. They are pretenders. They are camouflaging their real beliefs. They are Islamist radicals who claim to be Hindus against hate. A fact of the matter is, I think Americans are being misled about the RSS. I do not think, Troy, enough is known about it, but I think the people in India will take a lot of offense. The Indian-American relationship will be hit badly unless the American establishment comes forth and supports this private visit of Mohan Bhagwat to the United States. What do you think is going on? Trying to understand what really is the opposition stemming from, you think, Troy?
Yeah, I think the opposition is just credible reporting. I mean, we have both the UN, we have the Interfaith Council of New York, we have credible organizations that are basically saying that the RSS is a nationalist group. And, we do understand that the US and India have strong economic and diplomatic ties, and that is important. And I will say for many of my folks involved in this, myself included, this is not necessarily about being pro-India versus pro-Pakistan. I think this is more so about being concerned about human rights abuses. And so with the credible reporting that we're having, it's very concerning. The reporting is showing that there's been indiscriminate cases against religious minorities in India, including Christians and Muslims. That has been very concerning. I'm not necessarily calling for sanctions, but I do think that there needs to be more that is looked into the RSS. As noted, this is a private event, so the government can't necessarily shut this event down, but it should be an event that is monitored for hate speech. I know that just in general, I think that the biggest piece here is
Troy, let's be, can you name one party in America which is anti-national?
Well, it's not necessarily
can you name a single politician in America who will say he is not a nationalist, he or she is not a nationalist?
Well, it's more so about supremacy. It's about
that is an added adjective. That is an added adjective.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact is, I can say that somebody will say I'm a nationalist, and I can add the adjective, you are a nationalist supremacist, to add a sort of pejorative tone to it. But that is your subjective point of view, right? Suppose Trump says I'm a nationalist. Somebody say, but he's a supremacist. You see, you are adding that tone and tonality, which is your subjective thing. Fact is, everybody needs to be a nationalist. Everybody in America has been a nationalist. I'm not understanding which Democrat is not a nationalist today. Was Biden, your president, not a nationalist?
Well, it's not about just national pride. Again, it goes back to the idea of supremacy, believing that...
No, where is the supremacy coming from? There is no element of supremacy. Can you, for example, can you quote any one statement of the RSS chief which is supremacist?
I don't have his speeches verbatim in front of me, but what I can say about the RSS that we know is that this is a group that has been banned within India itself, right? This is the same group where
has it been banned in India itself? I mean, the fact is, Troy, why are you guys doing this?
That is the truth. Since 1948,
it is not the truth. I'll tell you one minute. I will tell you what is happening here. In America, from your country, there are groups like the Joshua Project. What is the Joshua Project doing? It believes that Hindus must be converted to Christianity. And it particularly believes that poor Indians must be exploited and converted, right? The RSS, which is a nationalist group, a cultural group, is working very hard to make sure that poor Indians are not exploited. And the government of India is stopping the entry of American dollars here to exploit poor Indians as part of a mass conversion project. It's terrible, actually, that people in America are trying to use poor Indians as cannon fodder as part of their evangelism, which is a paid-for project. It's not even an NGO project. It's a capitalist project.
Well, I don't know anyone that's in any of these
I'd say one thing to you.
No, the UN Council that is advocating.
I say this to you. What has happened is we are stopping the entry of American money to convert Indians. By the way, you don't allow it in America. You have a law called FARA, which is absolutely quote-unquote draconian compared to our law. You don't allow it on your soil. If today some Hindu groups were to bring in a lot of money to convert poor Christians into Hinduism, you would not allow it. But Hindus don't do it, by the way. It's not part of the Hindu tradition. You would not allow it.
Well, I think that's a separate conversation from this specific event.
No, I'm saying this is a perspective.
Converting people.
No.
I think there's a group of people that are concerned about the credible reporting about human rights abuses, and what we're saying is that we don't want to see any religious minority being indiscriminated against.
No.
That's what the concern is about. And again, this is a private event, so this is not an event necessarily that the government
but you guys,
can shut down.
No.
You have the Constitution that
I would say this much to you.
So that's why I'm advocating that this event, even though that this event is still going to go on, it should be monitored for hate speech, because we can't focus on what has happened. We have to focus on what is going to happen.
Troy, this is usual. I'm sorry, can I say one thing which may be politically incorrect, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
This is typical woke bullshit, you know that. Typically you use the same phrases.
I don't believe that.
If Trump wins, allow me. If Trump wins, I'll be very direct with you. We are Indians. You're on India's largest network, by the way. We're much bigger than BBC or your tiny little CNN. We have 5 times the viewership of CNN on digital. It's a big network. Everything in India is very big. The point I'm trying to make to you today, this is typical everything on, and I'm glad I'm entertaining some people tonight. This is typical woke bullshit. If Narendra Modi wins, it's backsliding of democracy. If Trump wins, it's something else. You see, you can't use these phrases, disenfranchisement, backsliding of democracy, human rights anymore. There is a pushback right now that's going on. We are pushing you back. And I can tell you 1.4 billion Indians want that event to happen. You don't have a choice. Don't keep calling it a private event. You're the force of the Hindu community behind that event. You're the force of the force and power of the Hindu community behind that event. We are watching what happens in Madison Square, and you need to keep those wokes in check. Now, I want to go to one of the people tonight on the other side, Ajay Shah or Dr. Yashodhan. The way you've been presented, I think, Ajay, the way this is being presented, you are all terrorists. You're all fascists and terrorists.
Well, thank you for inviting. I truly appreciate it. So the attack is not on RSS. These are all attacks by proxy on Hindus and Hindu Dharma. So I'll tell you that word Hindutva means the essence of Hindu Dharma. And they would not attack Hindu Dharma because that would be politically incorrect. So they would attack Hindutva, which is the essence of Hindu Dharma. They would not attack the practices of practicing Hindu, but they would now say that all Hindus are casteist, and then they would go and attack casteism. Almost no one, there is absolutely no evidence that there is casteism in US or any kind of caste discrimination in US, but they bring out bills like SB 403 in California to basically undermine high achieving Hindus. So it's attack on practicing Hindus by proxy. They don't want Hindus to be associated with the Indian organizations, and that's why they bring out the narrative of transnational repression. Because now if you say that, well, every Indian who speaks on behalf of India, a person of Indian origin who is American, who speaks on behalf of India, is an instrument, a tool of Indian government. Now, even if we speak out about the persecution of Hindus in India or persecution of Hindus in neighboring countries, we would be branded as tools of Indian government, even though we are just saying it from the American Hindu perspective. And so the real offense here is not, a real attack is not really on RSS. So it would be disingenuous for anyone sitting on this panel or anyone like Sunita Vishwanathan to come and say that, oh, I'm just attacking RSS, I'm attacking Mohan Bhagwat. Really, what they're doing is attacking Hindus, attacking Hindu Dharma, attacking people of Indian origin. And what they're trying to do is they're picking an organization in India. They don't even exist in America, called Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. RSS does not exist in India. But the chief of that organization is coming to America to propound the universal Hindu values, and they're attacking it because by that, what they're trying to say is that anyone, any individual, any organization, if they stand up for universal Hindu principles, we are going to basically beat you down. And that's exactly what everyone is talking about.
I think the point is also, Ajay, that what these pro-Pakistani, anti-Hindu groups are doing, and Hinduphobia is something, Troy, that you need to speak about and think about, because Hinduphobia is like, you talk very much about anti-Semitism, but if anti-Semitism is bad, then Hinduphobia is extremely bad. And here is a proud organization, which is a Hindu organization. It's a Hindu cultural organization, but do you know this? And I hope Alexander Shajan is going to be factual about this today, that the RSS allows people from all religions, every religion. The RSS allows people from all religion. Yeah, you need to listen to me, Alexander, because you can go there in America, in Atlanta, and say bad things about RSS thinking nobody knows, but someday you will be... You shouldn't say bad things about RSS. Don't say bad things about.
I'm just.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm being very, just like you said, I'm being very factual about it. I'm being very honest about it. Mamdani cannot stop this event. That's my first take.
No, that of course he can't. He can't. I agree with you. But this anti-RSS rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, anti-RSS rhetoric. That's mostly done by the woke, democratic, socialist, communist, jihadi, supporting Democrats of the United States of America. That's my statement. I'm very clear on that. Okay, RSS chief can go to America. RSS chief can go to Canada. He can go to anywhere in the world that permits him by law. He can go.
But people are misled there. I first of all appreciate your stance. I think, Dr. Yashodhan, I think it is very important, very, very important for you to counter this on social media and counter it in America.
I support it because I support it because I know there is an agenda. There is an agenda by people who support Mamdani, and that group, that Koklex, whatever you call it, that cult group of Mamdani is doing this with the support of a big group of people, and I oppose it with all.
But this is so important. Now, Dr. Yashodhan, are you doing enough to tell people the truth about the RSS?
So, hello, Arnab. Good evening, and thank you very much for having me on the show. I would like to clarify at the outset that I'm an independent policy researcher, and as a supporting media team of AHEAD's Universal Oneness program. And I was hearing patiently to Troy and others, and we would like to tell him that we love America as much as he do. We are worried about the peace and harmony in the US. So let us be a little bit data driven and let us look at what is this program all about. And that's what we have tried to articulate on our Twitter handle. This program by AHEAD is known as Universal Oneness Program. It promotes peace, it promotes harmony, it promotes interfaith dialogue. It has a quotations from Martin Luther King Jr., it has a quotations from Pope Francis, it has a quotations from Nelson Mandela. It is based on principle of universal.
No, 1 minute. Can I come in for a minute, please? Once. See, Dr. Yashodhan, I appreciate the fact that you want to try to make the RSS understandable to an American audience, but you don't need to lean on Martin Luther King. You don't need to lean on American icons. You don't need to lean on Nelson Mandela. All you need to say is that the ideology is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. That is the Sangh's, that is Hindu identities. No, 1 minute. You don't need, and I think we must be culturally more confident. We don't need to talk about global icons to talk about Hindu religion. Hindu religion precedes everything.
Absolutely.
And the philosophical basis, we need to tell the world today, the philosophical basis of Hindu identity is to accept diversity of worship, which is not the philosophical basis of Muslim identity. It is the philosophical basis of Hindu identity, which is accepting diversity of worship while maintaining civilizational unity. Why do we need global political names to justify what Hinduism is all about?
I was about to say, no, I agree with you fully. I was about to say that the entire concept of Universal Oneness Program is based on Swami Vivekananda's address at Chicago and his paper on Hinduism, which is regarding the Universal Oneness. And that's what is the philosophy, as you very rightly pointed out, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So let us look at the philosophy and the interfaith dialogue and the peace and the harmony which this program is promoting, rather than getting caught up into this is completely perception versus reality. So I respect our colleagues, but they need to look at our Twitter handles. They need to look at the theme of the program.
But what is happening is...
program is about you.
What is happening is, and I've spent some time in the academic world, Troy, and I'll tell you what's going on. There are many people who come to the United States of America, and they know that if they present themselves as woke, they will get a fellowship or a scholarship for doing a PhD or postdoctoral work. Well, I'll tell you the facts, Shajan. If you present yourself as woke, anti-Hindu, you first bring this narrative that Muslims are persecuted in India, there is caste discrimination, you will be accepted in woke American academic circles. And then these people, Troy, and Vibhuti can bear me out on this, have disproportionate influence on social media and academic and policy circles, and they perpetuate this myth. Can I share with you that the gentleman we are talking about heads an organization called RSS, Troy, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. It's like a national, Swayamsevak means volunteer organization, national volunteer organization. That's what it roughly translates as, Troy, right? The senior leaders of the RSS have been having formal dialogue with most prominent leaders of the Muslim community. The RSS says have formal dialogue with Muslim community figures like a Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Najib Jung, former Chief Election Commissioner S.Y. Qureshi, General Zamiruddin Shah, and there's an India Islamic Cultural Center, Troy, when you come here, we'll take you there, right? And the talk has been, how do we create unity, inclusion, and maintain restraint among fringe elements on all sides? This is the reality in India. Now somebody, a vested interest group which is making money by spreading a false pro-Pakistani narrative in America, is putting something out on social media. I think that is so wrong. And one more thing, Troy, you said, Mohan Bhagwat said in November last year, he said that everybody can be part of RSS, including Muslims and Christians. Just enter as sons of Bharat Mata, which means enter the organizations as children of Mother India. Religion does not matter. This is a truth which is not being shared. Vibhuti, it's a weakness. The Indian Hindu community must come together. It's a weakness. You're not sharing enough about this in Washington, New York, and everywhere.
I totally agree with you, Arnab, that we have, as a community, as a faith, as Hindus, we haven't done enough. But what is important here is that awakening is happening in a very serious way. That's why you are seeing Dr. Bharat Barai and Ajay Shahji and others rising up to the occasion. There is an awakening happening here. And that awakening is significant. And I will humbly submit to Troy and his other colleague.
You can speak directly to Troy, yeah. I want Troy to change his point of view.
Yeah, so Troy, never before or till now has RSS ever issued a statement condemning Christianity, condemning America, death to America, or we will convert Texas, Miami into Islamic land. You know what is happening here. I know what is happening here. I live in New York. I don't know where you live, but we know the kind of infiltration, the word that was used earlier on, that is happening in America because we are allowing freedoms to be used as the fault line of democracy. The earlier part, which is very significant, why this, is the Congress Party ideology, who have ruled this country for 59 plus years, in which they subjugated the Hindu mind completely. RSS, as Arnab very correctly pointed out, stands for National Service Volunteer Organization. Seva is a better word than service. It only does seva everywhere. They are the first volunteers to reach anywhere. We have no Hindu, and I can dare say that, no Hindu has ever shouted, death to America, or we are going to convert America into our faith, because we are assimilators. And these elements, Sunita Vishwanath and others, they are, I call them as Wokistanis. They are not even, they are worse than Pakistani. They are Wokistanis, who are untrue and unfaithful to their own faith that made them who they are. That's the tragic part that we are having to deal with. So, and this is another very important thing. The script written by Rahul Gandhi and Sunita Vishwanathan and all these people, somebody is writing their same script. Whatever one says, the other says the same thing. So we are fighting a hydra-headed monster, actually. We are being attacked because people don't know us. And I want to tell you, Troy, if ever you want to know about us more, please call me. I'm available.
No, what has happened here?
Our way of life.
I just want to take Troy as a case study.
Can I chime in really quick?
Yes, Troy, you want to say something?
Our whole way of life is based on debate.
So I think there's a
dialogue, and
misconception. I think we're conflating a couple of different things here, because what's happening in this particular space, particularly from the human rights organizations, again, this is not about an attack on Hindus. This is not about necessarily being pro-India versus pro-Pakistan for at least these groups, at least as someone who works in American government. What this is about the credible allegations that have come through reporting from multiple organizations about the RSS. So for the leader, because I know that he's going to be doing a 3-state visit, and this just happens to be one where he's coming to New York, and I do live in New York, is that I think what's going to be helpful in this situation is, again, not only should the event be monitored for hate speech, any event should be, but I think what needs to be explained about this is that we're conflating the RSS with all Hindus.
I think it's simply, from my reading of the situation, Troy, is simply a lack of awareness. And suppose I were to ask you, suppose let's flip the scales, right? Suppose India was a 200-year-old country and America was a 6,000-year-old civilization. Then maybe I would not understand the depth of your history and your civilization. But you are a 200-year-old country and we are a 6,000-year-old civilization. In fact, 10,000 years, if some historical estimates are correct. You see, so much wrong is said. India, Hinduism is bad, this, that. You know, Troy, Hinduism has gone through the most social reform. One day you and I will meet, I will tell you about the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement starts 12th to 17th century, you know. It's the greatest social reform movement, five centuries of reform within the Hindu religion, the most progressive. You come from a country that did not even give women equal rights to vote. I come from a country, Troy, where widow remarriage was part of social reform instituted by Hindus themselves from within. You come from a country where there are divisions today, you're broken down. I come from a country where Muslims and Christians already attend RSS shakas. We talk about shared ancestry, right? You come from a country that is today divided in a great and terrible way. And I understand what's going on, but I want to tell you, you have absolutely no right to say we are going to be global monitors of anything. You're not. Absolutely not. You have disrespected even the Persian culture. Your president has said things, unspeakable things about Persians and Iranian civilization out of maybe an inferiority complex. All of these things are bad. But what I feel bad about, the worst of it, I do feel, it's not like I don't feel sorry for you. At some fundamental level, I do feel sorry for you because you cannot understand the complexity of a country that has hundreds of gods, hundreds of languages, and thousands of traditions.
I do.
No, I must in fact tell you, let me give you an example here, just after that. I must tell you, there was a book released by Mohan Bhagwat. Troy, the typical woke bullshit doesn't apply to us. We don't like the woke attitude to life. Look at what happened to your country because of the wokes. Look at what is happening to your country because of the wokes.
Why was the RSS banned in India multiple times since 1948?
Well, I think you've got your history completely wrong. In fact, in 2021, allow me to tell you, because you can't keep repeating the same thing. There was a book which was launched, and I think our great friend Bharat Barai can tell you about it. The book is called The Meeting of Minds, a Bridging Initiative by Khwaja Iftikhar Ahmed, founder of the Interfaith Harmony Foundation of India. You know who launched the book? Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief. This is an institutional signal that we want to engage with everyone, including Muslim interlocutors, on issues of shared belonging, harmony, and culture. These are things that, you see, Mamdani knows nothing. He's not an Indian. He's from Uganda, and he's an American. He knows nothing about India. He just wants to sell the fact that he's got an Indian angle to it. I'm just trying to tell you that do not support a man who supports people who were co-conspirators in the World Trade Center bombing, and that's what Mamdani is, you know that. It's very dangerous. You'll regret it, Troy, one day. These are radical people, Mamdani and these people.
I don't work for Mamdani or President Trump. I don't work for either of those individuals. I'm a private citizen at this particular moment. Again, what I'm looking at is the credible reporting from the organizations. I'm not looking at the president's statement. I'm not looking at Mamdani's statement. I'm not looking at this from any anti-left.
I have nothing against you. I'm just trying to tell you that you don't know enough about the RSS, and you've taken some things which have been fed to you. And that feeding is bad. You must question, you must be critical of information that you're, in Bengaluru, right? Bhagwat was asked, can Muslims join RSS? He said, people of all denominations can come, provided they keep separateness aside. Don't think yourself as Muslim first. Think of yourself as Bharatiya first, Indian
very
first.
Critical. But that is why I am saying, even though the event can't be canceled, the leader is coming. But my point exactly is why we should be looking future forward.
No, you can't cancel. You cannot cancel. You cannot.
Because if the leader is coming, then the expectation should be that he should be able to answer for some of these concerns that folks have.
No, we don't need to answer these concerns because it is like we are not going to answer we are not going to answer the Pakistani community, which is a sponsor of terrorism of extreme measure. We're not going to answer them about democracy. Is Pakistan a democracy? It's not. We're not answerable to them. I want to get Dr. Bharat Barai. Dr. Bharat Barai, what is this going on in America now? And what is the Hindu community doing to confront this, to counter this?
It's an exercise of selective morality, exercise of selective talk about human rights, and trying to discriminate against people who have been enslaved for 800 years. Talking about Hindus, for 600 years, we were under the Muslim rules, had no right to talk about it. All we were able to do was work as slaves. Britishers continued the same tradition. Indians were taken as slaves to Africa, to Fiji, to Caribbean islands, and many other places. After 1947, we were half slaves under the Congress Party. And they used to, I can tell you as a Hindu who was born in India, I felt that we were treated Hindus as second-class citizens by the so-called brown Britishers or some of the so-called elite Hindus who thought that they had the right to rule over the rest of the Hindus who were laborers, uneducated. When the Britishers left in 1947, the literacy rate in India was only 10%. 90% people could not even write their names. That's how the Britishers served the country. Now talking about RSS. RSS is the most cultured, most respectable organization. And for my friends who are from USA, this is an organization which is comparable to Boy Scouts. They teach they meet the people, they are taught how to serve, they are taught what is a nation, how to respect a nation, the culture of the organization. So RSS, what does it do? RSS teaches the people the value of life, how to respect your family, how to respect your neighbors, how to help your village, how to help your city. Whenever there is a natural disaster, who are the people who go first there? It is the RSS volunteers who go there. They don't ask if the person who was affected in the flood was a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian. And talking about other religion, I can tell you Mr. Sikandar Bakht, who was a Muslim, and he was one of the leaders of RSS, and he stayed at my home in Chicago when he was alive and used to come. So that is a bunch of baloney to tell that there is a violation of human rights. You know, in a country of 1.4 billion, there are always little personal fights here and there, and those things are amplified as violation of human rights, baloney. And what is the selective implementation? So many Hindus were killed recently in Bangladesh. More than 300 temples were vandalized. Where were all the human rights people to protect those Hindus? There were people who were lynched. In Pakistan, same USISR says that 1,000 women, Hindu women, are abducted, forcibly converted to Islam. What happened in Pakistan? The elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, he is in jail. And the army marshal, who calls himself Field Marshal or Field Marshal, he is invited by White House, and the President of the United States called this man who has imprisoned the elected Prime Minister of Pakistan. Where are the human rights we are talking about? And about same thing about Mamdani. He talks about inclusion. Wait a minute. Has RSS ever excluded anybody? What is he talking about? He is the one who is going around preaching against Hindus. He is not talking about the human rights of people in Bangladesh, the Hindus, especially minority. He is not talking about the human rights of Hindus and other minorities in Afghanistan. He is not talking about the rights of Hindus in Pakistan. So this selective morality and selective practice of human rights, that has become the hallmark. And that's why, as an American, and I'm a US citizen, I feel that my country, USA, should try to correct itself and use the fair definition which is spread across the sector, not just selective morality to suit the politics. And unfortunately, India's history has been that a small cult of Hindus have always collaborated with their occupiers, whether with the Muslims or whether Britishers. And the same people are doing same thing in New York. And Sunita Vishwanathan, she herself was employed by George Soros, and now she is working for
that is true, actually.
Organization.
You know, this Soros groups want to spoil the relationship between India and America. And this is my strong suspicion. India and America need to work together. India is a large country. We are growing to grow faster. In purchasing power parity, we're the third largest economy in the world. We got about $18 trillion already in purchasing power parity. That's not more than half the purchasing power parity terms of US. We're a big country. We might overtake America in the next 15, 20 years. So someone wants to spoil the relationship. They will support these people. I'm going to open up the calls. And by the way, we got...
Look, can I add one quick thing? Because
yes,
this has come
Ajay.
up multiple times. Yeah, so Troy brought up multiple times now that RSS was banned 3 times, and I don't want it to go unanswered. So the 3 times RSS was banned, Troy, for your edification, because I think you've been just fed this narrative without actually understanding it. The first one was in 1948 when Mahatma Gandhi was murdered, and that ban was immediately lifted after that because there was no evidence that Godse actually belonged
was involved in any way.
RSS at the time. Second time, it was banned when the democracy in India was completely subverted in 1975, and a lot of civil rights organizations, civil organizations, voluntary organizations were banned as soon as the Constitution of India was restored. And by the same people, it was done by the same people that are now part of the cohort that is opposing Mohan Bhagwat ji's visit to US, and that was lifted right after democracy was restored. Third time it was banned was when the Babri structure, the sign of slavery of Hindus, was demolished, which is no different than Confederate statues coming down. And when that structure was demolished, RSS was again banned. Once again, it was found that RSS was actually not involved in it, and the ban was lifted. So all the narratives that you've been fed in are completely wrong.
I'm with you in this. I'm unfortunately over time. I cannot take calls now, but I hope that we can have a stronger debate on this subject. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to be very careful of groups that use the word Hindu. Remember, this group Hindu for Human Rights is a fraud organization that is launched in coordination with another anti-Hindu organization called the Indian American Muslim Council and the Organization for Minorities of India, self-styled organizations. They opposed Modi's Houston visit as well in the past. And now they're against Bhagwat. We know that the line goes straight to Rawalpindi. We're going to take them on, confront them, and to the Hindus in America, come together. And to every Indian in America, come together for the Madison Square Garden event. And I shall see you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure and privilege to bring the news to you as always. Till tomorrow evening. Good night and goodbye.